This news article is about NBA trade rumors involving the Golden State Warriors potentially looking for a mid-season trade to replace a $48.5 million star player who hasn't lived up to expectations. Key points. Warriors considering mid-season trade to strengthen roster. They have a $48.5 million star player who hasn't met expectations. Identity kept secret. Warriors have had a mixed season with impressive wins and disappointing losses. Currently middle of Western Conference, standings financial situation is complicated. Payroll over $200 million. In luxury tax territory, they're looking for players who can provide scoring, defense, and veteran leadership. Western Conference is very competitive. With Denver, Phoenix, Memphis' tough opponents trade deadline approaching. Urgency increasing, I need to create an engaging YouTube script following the established format with emotional hook, engaging language, proper structure, all in English. Is the Golden State Warriors dynasty about to make the most shocking move of the decade? Hold on to your seats, Warriors faithful, because what we're hearing from league insiders could completely reshape everything you thought you knew about this team's championship aspirations. Sometimes the biggest earthquakes happen when you least expect them, and the tremors we're feeling right now might signal a seismic shift in the Bay Area. The whispers have been growing louder, and now they're impossible to ignore. According to multiple sources close to the organization, the Golden State Warriors are seriously exploring a mid-season blockbuster trade that could involve moving their $48.5 million star player who simply hasn't lived up to the massive expectations. We're talking about potentially dismantling a core piece of this roster in pursuit of something that could either catapult them back to championship glory or completely derail their season. Let's be brutally honest about what's happening here. The Warriors find themselves in a position that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago, stuck in the middle of the Western Conference standings, watching teams like the Denver Nuggets, Phoenix Suns, and Memphis Grizzlies establish themselves as the new powerhouses, while Golden State struggles to find their identity. This isn't just about one player underperforming. This is about an organization that built a dynasty recognizing that tough decisions need to be made if they want to remain relevant in an increasingly competitive landscape. When Steve Kerr's squad looks in the mirror, they're seeing a team capable of brilliant victories and devastating defeats, often within the same week. The financial reality facing the Warriors makes this situation even more complex and fascinating. We're talking about a franchise with payroll exceeding $200 million, deep in luxury tax territory, where every dollar matters and every move carries massive implications. Trading a $48.5 million player isn't just about basketball fit. It's about organizational philosophy and long-term sustainability. But here's where this story gets absolutely compelling from a strategic standpoint. The Warriors have never been afraid to make bold moves when their championship window demanded it. This is the same front office that orchestrated Kevin Durant's signing, made the Andre Iguodala trade, and countless other moves that defined their championship runs. They understand that sometimes you have to break things to build them better. According to league sources, the Warriors are specifically targeting players who can provide three crucial elements: consistent scoring, defensive reliability, and veteran leadership. That's not a coincidence. Those are exactly the areas where their current $48.5 million investment has fallen short of expectations. They're not looking for potential. They're looking for proven production. The Athletic recently highlighted that Golden State might explore options involving younger players with significant upside, which aligns perfectly with their historical approach to roster construction. They've always been masterful at identifying talent through both the draft and strategic trades, building sustainable success around their core superstars. The urgency behind these potential moves cannot be overstated. Every game that passes without significant improvement is another game closer to potentially missing the playoffs entirely. In the Western Conference, where the difference between the 4th seed and the 10th seed can be measured in just a few games, there's no margin for error. Consider the competition they're facing. The Denver Nuggets have Nikola Jokic operating at an MVP level. The Phoenix Suns have assembled a superstar trio that looks dangerous when healthy. The Memphis Grizzlies continue developing young talent alongside veteran leadership. Meanwhile, the Warriors are trying to figure out how to maximize their investment in a player who hasn't delivered the expected return. The identity of this mysterious $48.5 million player remains closely guarded, but the implications of potentially moving him are staggering. We're talking about admitting that a major organizational decision didn't work out as planned, and being willing to course correct in the middle of a season where every game matters for playoff positioning. From a basketball perspective, the Warriors need players who can complement Stephen Curry's brilliance without requiring the ball in their hands constantly. They need defenders who can switch multiple positions and shooters who can space the floor. Most importantly, they need contributors who understand what championship basketball looks like and can perform when the stakes are highest. The trade deadline creates its own sense of urgency, but the Warriors situation adds another layer of complexity. They can't afford to wait and see if things improve naturally. The Western Conference playoff race is too competitive, and their championship window with the current core is too precious to waste on hope rather than action. League executives are watching Golden State's situation with intense interest because any move they make will have ripple effects throughout the entire NBA landscape. When a franchise with their championship pedigree and financial resources decides to make a significant trade, it creates opportunities and complications for teams across both conferences. The psychological aspect of potentially trading a high-priced player midseason can't be ignored either. It sends a message to the entire roster about expectations and accountability. Championship organizations don't accept mediocrity, regardless of contract size or previous accomplishments. Steve Kerr has built his coaching reputation on maximizing talent and creating systems where players can succeed. But even the best systems require the right personnel. And if the current personnel isn't working, changes become necessary regardless of financial investment. The timing of these rumored discussions is particularly intriguing because it coincides with other Western Conference teams making their own moves to improve. The Warriors recognize that standing still in today's NBA is equivalent to moving backwards, especially when your competition is actively trying to get better. As we approach the trade deadline, every conversation, every workout, and every team meeting becomes magnified. The Warriors are facing a crossroads moment that could define not just this season, but the next several years of their championship aspirations. The $48.5 million question isn't just whether they'll make a trade. It's whether they have the courage to admit when something isn't working and the wisdom to know what moves will actually make them better. Championship organizations make difficult decisions, and the Warriors are about to show us exactly what kind of organization they still are. What do you think, Warriors Nation? Are you ready for the organization to make a bold move that could completely change the trajectory of the season? Share your thoughts in the comments below and hit that like button if you believe sometimes you have to take risks to achieve greatness. The trade deadline is approaching fast, and the next few weeks could reshape the entire landscape of Warriors basketball.